Good evening and welcome to another edition of Giggle with Gaghouse in partnership with Gaghouse Comedy Clubs and Guildford Fringe. You are very welcome here for a night jam-packed of comedy. Our lineup includes Callie Beeson, who has been at all of Gaghouse Comedy Clubs, and the wonderful Stephen Grant, Brighton-based comedian, absolute legend. So a couple of housekeeping bits before we crack on with the show. First of all, I just want to say, please share this post far and wide. Share this post onto your own Facebook walls, onto any groups, any community groups you might be part of, any business page you might run. Please just share this video like a normal Facebook post. Click the share button and share it everywhere you can. Now tonight we're not only live on Facebook, we're also trying out live on YouTube and Twitter. So fingers crossed for all that. Not particularly technical, so could all go terribly wrong. But if the worst case happens and we go off of YouTube or Twitter, please just come back and find us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Gaghouse Comedies. That's where I will start the video again if we do go off for any reason. But why would we? I'm a technical genius. Anyway, so I've said to share the post. That'd be great. Now, our clubs are not free to watch online anymore. We just simply can't afford to keep doing them, and the acts can't afford to keep coming on if the club is free. So we're doing pay what you want. And that is exactly what it means. Pay what you want. And you can pay whatever you want for a ticket price via paypal.me/Gaghouse Comedy. And I really, really hope that you all put something towards the club so we can continue to do these things. As I say every single week, we want to make these clubs as interactive as possible. And we can do that by you guys commenting. Whatever platform you're watching on, there is a comment option. I will see the comments and I can share them with the acts. The acts would probably kind of head down doing their sets, so they probably won't reply to your comments, but I will in between the sets. I'll also share some on the screen. You can talk to each other. If someone comments and you want to reply to them, just click the reply button and make this as interactive as you possibly can. Let's face it, you can't chat at our actual in-house club, so why don't you chat to each other? Now we're doing them online. So I think that's it from me for now. We have two incredible acts, as I said, Callie Beaton and Stephen Grant, both here live for you tonight. As I said, please do pay whatever you can via paypal.me/Gaghouse Comedy. And keep the comments coming in. Let me know where you're watching from, who you're watching with, and also how you heard about the club would be great and very useful to find out. Just checking, the reason I'm blabbering and making sure Callie Beaton is ready to come online. She is. So please give a warm online welcome to your first act for this evening. It is the wonderful Callie Beaton.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for your amazing MC. That was the brilliant Nick. Oh, Nick, they love you. Great MCing. So it's absolutely lovely to be here in my front room. Yeah, again. Yeah, it was a tough commute to the gig, as you can imagine, very tough. Actually, it was quite tough because my cat was sick on the stairs. But anyway, I'm here now, and I hope you're all doing really well in lockdown. I mean, isn't it? Isn't life just beautiful? Aren't we having the best time? I hope you all stayed well in lockdown. It's been a bit tricky for me. I've actually completed COVID-19. Yes, I have survived the virus. I've also completed 10 weeks since I wore a bottom half to a meeting, and since I wore a bra. Not just to a meeting, I mean bras, remember them? Lads? So anyway, I'm Callie. It's lovely, as I said, to be here. I am a single parent of 2 teenagers, apart from on Tinder, where I'm a single, fun-loving nurse. I'm missing travelling. I normally travel all the time, you know, for this job, that's what we do. That's what comedians do. And I go to the States a lot because, you see, over in the States, they don't get ginger like we do over here. I don't know if they've been vaccinated. I don't know what it is. They've got that president with a ginger face, haven't they? But they give me loads of work. I think they think I'm like a royal or a Weasley or something like that. But they always say to me after gigs, they're like, I love your hair. Where did you get that colour? I'm like, it's just 500 years of inbreeding. So I have a boy and a girl. Are there any parents in, by the way? Give us a cheer. You got no energy to cheer, have you? You've been bloody homeschooling for weeks. I know. You need a bleeding medal. You do. It's like going out in the trenches, what you've been doing. But no, mine are a bit older, and I have a boy and a girl. And my boy's he's the ginger one. He's my favourite. Yeah, he's an incredible kid. He's autistic actually. So he was diagnosed with autism a few years ago. When he first got the diagnosis, I didn't know the first thing about it, to be honest with you. But luckily, he was on hand to write me a list. And he's loving this whole pandemic. I mean, he doesn't want anyone to be ill or die or anything. He's got some empathy, but he loves the kind of enforced lack of socialising. It's like an autistic dream. I keep saying, you are allowed to go out. It's all right. You don't have to stay in the house all the time. And he's like, no, Mum. Boris Johnson's told me I've got to stay alert, protect the NHS, save my high score on Fortnite. He's not going anywhere. And by the way, don't feel too sorry for him. He gets really, really spoiled. He was the first grandchild. There was this one time, right? And just for doing his maths homework, my mum got out a £5 note and gave it to him. And I was like, Mum, you can't do that. And she said, I can, Callie, because when he was diagnosed, we were all specifically told not to expect him to handle change. So I've got a littler one too. She's meant to be finishing her first year at uni, actually. And it's been really tough on her because, like lots of kids, that age, she's had to come back early from her first year at uni. And you know what? It's gone so quickly. It feels like yesterday I dropped her off for the first time at her hall of residence. I got back in the car and it suddenly hit me. I started thinking about things like, like the drugs and the casual sex and the partying and all the things I could do now the house was empty. So my kids are half Dutch, actually. Do we have anyone Dutch in tonight? Anyone Dutch in? Fuck it. Yeah, I met their dad when I was over in Amsterdam. It's not what you expect from a hen weekend, is it? But there you are. That's what happened to me. And I don't know if we've got any Brexit fans in, have we? Any Brexit fans? Because you see, one of the things I didn't like about travelling up until the travel bans was everywhere you go, if you're English, whatever your opinion is about Brexit, everyone's telling you about it, asking you about it. So you know how Americans, they pretend to be Canadian because they're so embarrassed of President Trump. So I got into the habit of pretending at gigs abroad that I was Irish. That's what I would do. And obviously I've got the colouring for it. I'm actually born on St. Patrick's Day. That's my birthday. And I've slept with loads of Irish people. So yeah, I've worked really hard at getting a bit of Irish in me. Yeah. Anyway, we brought the kids up over here in London. That's where I'm based, and we decided we'll bring them up bilingually. We'll teach them all the really important things like Dutch language and grammar, how to be very direct with no sense of humour. And it's all gone pretty well. But I never married their Dutch dad. Actually, we were together for years and years. But the only thing a Dutch husband will give you that's long and hard is his surname. So didn't bother with that. So what that means is, I know we've all sort of forgotten about Brexit, what with the pandemic and all the other problems, but whenever it does go ahead, right, there's a very good chance my kid's own Dutch dad will have no legal right to stay in the same country as his own children. He's got a new partner now, she's British, they've got 2 little kids together, and you might be thinking, Callie, if he wants a British passport, why doesn't he just marry her? But I'll tell you, lovely viewers tonight, why it's unlikely to happen actually, because faced with a choice between deportation and commitment, he doesn't even have to book his own flight, does he? He doesn't have to pay for it. I'm beginning to think Brexit all along has just been some sort of government-funded concierge service for flaky Dutch fuckers. I mean, I'm not bitter. Nothing like that. No. I did actually, I don't know if anyone else has been getting really bored in lockdown. I mean, it's easy as a comedian to get pretty blooming bored because what with all the venues being shut, we have a lot of downtime. And I ended up late one night sending my ex a text just to see if when this is all over, he fancied going for a drink. Blooming autocorrect changed it to you've got a tiny dick and you've ruined my life. isn't it? Technology's weird. Do you know, I had an even worse one. I ended up sending my personal trainer a text asking if he fancied going for a socially distant rub on Sunday. Socially distanced rub. Obviously what I meant to say was Saturday. Technology though, it's not always your friend. It's my friend tonight, because that's how I'm talking to you lovely people. But they try and do all this stuff, don't they? Make us feel kind of connected. They've got that, do you like that care emoji? Do you notice that popped up? So now on Facebook you can give a little hug, a little nice caring hug. I mean, that's all well and good, isn't it? Do you know what I'd like an emoji of? I'd like an emoji of a woman sitting on the sofa, a little bit drunk, stalking her exes on Facebook. Where's that emoji? Dancing Spanish lady, my arse. She's not my spirit animal, I tell you that. By the way, as I just said, my birthday was St. Patrick's Day, so I've celebrated my birthday during lockdown. I am now a 50-something woman. I'll take your silence as stunned. What was the surprise there? Was it the age, the gender? What shocked you, lovely people? I don't know if there are any women out there, my kind of age, any 50-something women out there? Give us a whoop. I mean, you'll know, women my age watching this, you might have noticed there was this B-list French celebrity, and he made global headlines because he said, by the way, I should say, he was 50 when he said this, right? He said a woman at 50 is invisible. You're very lucky to be seeing me tonight, aren't you? He went on to say that the body of a 25-year-old is extraordinary, but there's nothing extraordinary about the body of a 50-year-old. That's what he said. Let me tell you right here tonight, there is plenty that is extraordinary about my body. When I sneeze, I piss, monsieur. I mean, I don't know if there's any young women watching. I'm sure there are. And I don't want to put you beautiful younger women off the ageing process or anything like that. But buckle up, because all I'm saying is, right, at a certain point, everything changes. I had a bath just now before doing the gig, and I lay in the bath and I looked down and there were bits of me sticking out of the water in very unexpected places. It was like those sort of artificial Chinese islands they build in disputed waters. Sort of unwanted naval base. It wasn't good, to be honest. But still, do you know what I think? When that man said that, I thought, do you know what? It's 2020. How about we celebrate women and our bodies? Who cares what age, size, body type we've got, right? I mean, my body is a temple. Visitors are very welcome. All nationalities, actually. I mean, to be honest, you don't even need to take your shoes off. Masks on, shoes on. I don't mind. Do you know what the pencil test is? I'm sure some of you watching know that. It's a test of how perky your breasts are, right? So the theory is, if you've got nice perky boobs, right, you put a pencil under your bare boob and it falls to the ground because there's nothing to hold it there, right? And I hadn't done the pencil test since I was about 16. And I found myself in a braless situation just before lockdown, and I saw a pencil lying there. I thought, fuck it, I'm gonna try this. So I took the pencil, I popped it under my bare breast. The pencil stayed, ruler stayed as well, calculator, iPhone, a hole punch, hand sanitizer. I got onto the other one just as I was trying to get the printer tucked under there. I mean, I could have kept going. It was awful. Anyway, in the end, the nurse said it's time to do the mammogram now. By the way, I don't know if anyone else watching is an empty nester. That's the situation I was in until this all happened, and then everything changes. You find yourself sharing a house cheek by jowl with people you didn't choose. I don't know who out there's married. Anyone married out there? I mean, it's funny because, you know, I don't mind being single. It's all right, but it's quite lonely because all my close friends are married. They're all on their first or their second marriages. And, you know, when I talk to them, the conversation with my married girlfriends, it always turns to sex. And it's isolating because I'm always the only one actually having any. Some of you laughing more than others. Some wives laughing more than their husbands, maybe, at that. You're welcome. But you end up sharing kind of close quarters with people, don't you, 24/7. You might not particularly want to see 24/7. And much as I missed my kids when they left home, I was getting used to being an empty nester, and now here they are again, back again. And do you know what? Within hours of my daughter getting back, we were straight back to rows about, you know, curfews and screen time and weed. And in the end, I thought, I'll bugger it. I'm 51. I'll do what I like. I found this thing online that can best be described as a menopause magnet. I don't mean like George Clooney or something like that. No, this is literally, it's a magnetic device, and it helps a woman through the menopause. Now, this thing arrived in the post, and it said on the packaging it would help me with mood swings and hot flushes, and I could wear it discreetly on my underwear. And I know this sounds really weird, right, but bear with. So what you do is, right, you put the magnet on the front of your knickers, and you put a metal disc on the inside of your knickers to keep it securely and discreetly in place. Now, that bit works absolutely beautifully, as some of the women watching will know. But I'll tell you what they don't tell you on the menopause magnet packaging is that when you have got it tucked neatly and very discreetly in your pants, there's a not indistinct chance you will find yourself metallically attached to the self-checkout in the supermarket. The unexpected item in the bagging area was my metallic minge. Do you know what? I just rang it through as a butternut squash, and I fucked off. It was, honestly, this teenager on the tills heard the blooming alarm going off. He raced straight over and he was like, "Can I see your ID?" And I said, "Look, don't make me show you what's in my pants." And he was quick as a flash. He pressed over 25. Twice. I felt like such an idiot, to be honest, because like only the week before, I'd spent a full 10 minutes attached to my tumble dryer. Not unpleasant, 10 minutes. To be honest with you, but I swear to God, these magnets are like really powerful. Honestly, if any of you have got any metal fillings, I'd move a little bit back from your screens. I really wouldn't. Shut your mouths. But no, they are properly powerful magnets. I think they would interfere with a compass. I do. I live in dread of waking up in the middle of the night to find a whole scout group milling around the end of my bed. I tell you the other thing, oh God, they also interfere with a pacemaker. Now, do you know how I know that? It's made for a few awkward Saturday nights, I'll be honest with you, because the thing is, lovely ladies and gentlemen, and by the way, thanks for being so kind. I haven't had any heckles tonight. You're such a lovely audience, really making me feel welcome. Thank you so much. But I used to love an older man. That was my thing. I loved a man who was like, 25 years older than me. That was my thing. Loved that. That's got ever so tricky now. A lot of those men are dead. Yeah, it's less silver fox, more roadkill, to be honest with you. But I'll tell you something you might not know, some of you might know, but for the younger people watching, 50-something people, they love a threesome. Everyone's doing it at my age. I think it's so that while two people are having sex, there's still one person free to bang on about how little they paid for their house back in 1997. My friends, by the way, they were all saying to me before lockdown, they were like, Callie, you've got to stop going for these older guys. Why don't you start going younger? Find a nice younger man. And so I was at one of the last gigs I did actually back in the beginning of March, and this kind of quite good looking young bloke gave me his number, and I thought, why not? So I had a very brief little sort of liaison with this younger man. I I didn't know his age, to be honest with you. I mean, I knew the age gap was significant. It was legal, just to be clear. God, I sound like R. Kelly, don't I? But anyway, moving on. So I ended up in bed with a man who, as it turned out, was a third-year media studies student at Leeds University. So I know, I'm not proud of it. It was really awkward. So ever since then, I've got a very, very clear rule. I will only date people doing proper degree subjects. It's I don't know if you can see my t-shirt, by the way. I've got it's like got the sort of the Rolling Stones lips on it. I got given this amazing t-shirt by a friend when I was so ill. She sent me this t-shirt, and it was that amazing feminist mantra from Elizabeth Warren over in the States, and it said, "Nevertheless, she persisted," on it in massive letters, and I thought that is such an inspirational feminist message. I was going to wear that t-shirt for you tonight, but it makes me look fat. Little feminist joke for you there. Yeah. So listen, guys, you've been absolutely delightful, as I say, and sometimes when I've done a gig, someone will come up to me afterwards and they'll say, "Callie, I really enjoyed that. I didn't know women could be funny." That's what we get to hear a lot as female comedians, and I was thinking about it before I came and did this tonight, and I thought, well, it is funny, isn't it? Because as women, we get about 70% of men's wages, don't we? And we're 15% of company directors, 5% of world leaders, but we do 70% of the cleaning, don't we? 80% of the washing, 90% of the childcare, and then society tells us we can have 1% body fat, can't we? 0% body hair, but we can pay 11% more for the same fucking razors. And then, of course, we are supposed to be 100% up for sexual favours, aren't we, ladies? Even on a school night, on about 50% of the sleep any of us need, with only 50% of the people in the bed achieving an orgasm, about 5% of the time they promised. And as we tuck up under our 30% of the duvet, remembering that we as women are 75% more likely to get depressed. No shit. Despite being reminded on 100% of days that we would be so much prettier if we would just smile. I think it's fair to say if women didn't have the most awesome sense of humour, there would be a fuckload more murders. Don't you think? Oh, you're too kind. That's the sound of women laughing and clapping and nudging their blokes and going, if you don't fucking laugh at that, you're never having sex again. And you probably didn't know you'd come to a feminist rally, did you? But you're here now. I hope you've had a lovely time. But seriously, it's been my total pleasure to do this. If you have enjoyed what we've done here tonight, as Nick said, please do decide to donate some cash for the ticket price. I mean, none of us are desperate. We're desperate. We need the money. If you have liked me, do give me a follow. I'm on social media. I'm at Callie Beaton Comedian on Instagram, at Callie Beaton on Twitter. So if you've liked me, give me a follow. If you haven't liked me, I've been Dawn French. And let me hand you back to your brilliant MC, Nick.
Callie Beaton, everybody. Thank you so much, Callie, for tuning in. Wonderful act. As always, I really enjoyed that. Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. Don't forget, you can still share this post. We've still got another act coming up. The wonderful Stephen Grant. Click share to your Facebook walls and get as many people enjoying tonight's club as possible. Remember, this club is not free, although it's easy to watch and you can just click on and watch it for free. We really implore you to pay what you want for the club so we can continue to do these comedy clubs. You can pay what you want via paypal.me/Gaghouse Comedy, and that money gets split between the club, which helps us keep going, and the acts to help them live, basically. They're earning nothing. So give anything you can. I really appreciate it. On that note, we have had an early payer, Wes Cox. Thank you, mate. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Wes comes every week. He is a firm favourite of ours, even more so now. We've got his money in the bank. Thank you, Wes. We really appreciate it. So if you can pay what you want, guys, please follow Wes's lead and go to paypal.me/Gaghouse Comedy. Now, as I said at the beginning, we are live tonight, not only on Facebook, we're also on Twitter and YouTube. We're trying out a new bit of software, see if it works for us. So if you've got friends, family, colleagues who would love to watch a bit of comedy, but they're not on Facebook, you can go on YouTube, search for Gaghouse Comedy Clubs, and you will find our live feed, and you can send them that link instead. We're just trying to make it accessible to as many people as possible. So Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, we are live tonight. So do share any of those links, and we would love to have you. Don't forget, guys, keep letting us know where you are. If you're enjoying yourselves, click those emoji buttons, the laughy sign, all that kind of stuff. It just makes it a bit more interactive and lets us know you're there enjoying it as much as I am. I'm just dialing in. Excuse me while I push a couple of buttons. Dialing in for Stephen, our next act. Now, Stephen is one of the UK's best headline acts. He is just wonderful, and he is just down the road in Brighton. So please give a very warm welcome to our second act of the night, Stephen Grant.
Hello there, Stephen Grant here. Going to be doing some stand-up comedy for you, which I suppose should involve me standing up. Most people are showing people around their the back wall or something, trying to recreate a comedy club. I'll just walk out of my house, to be honest with you. There's no greater light than the actual natural light, and thanks to a slight relaxation in the rules, this technically counts as a walk. Don't have a dog right now, and I could jog the final bit of it if you don't really think this qualifies as exercise. So it's good to have you here. I don't know where you are right now watching it. That is the beauty of the coronavirus lockdown and how it all works. I'm actually currently in my home, but hopefully not giving quite enough information for those of you who are stalkers to work out how exactly to discover where it is that I live, and then come along and then sort of drop, I don't know, a sort of a package full of your own excrement through my front door as a way of saying that you weren't entirely happy with my set. But that's fine, I don't possibly mind that. So I'm good now out, and Nick, it's great to have me on board. Thank you very much, Nick, for letting us do this and say hello to all the people from Gaghouse Comedy. Hi guys, how you doing? While I take you around my manor, this neck of the woods. I'm a little village on the outside of Brighton right now, and I love it round here, and being a Brightonian means I'm very proud, very progressive. And to answer your next question, no, I'm not, but a lot of my friends are. That does catch people out from time to time. I'm from the gay capital of Europe. 1 in 5 men between the ages of 20 and 25 does catch people out from time to time. Like every now and again, you'll hear people, saying, "We from Brighton, eh? Ooh, backs to the wall." Doesn't really work, the backs to the wall thing, actually, because we put holes in the wall to put our cocks through, so it's just as dangerous. And in many ways, what you're doing is making us more prone. I'll have people say things to me like, what was it? I was in Singapore playing to a mostly Australian crowd. And I said, "Oh, no, my name's Stephen Grant, I'm from Brighton," and someone shouted out, "Shit stabber!" I thought, how far do I have to travel to lose this reputation? But to be fair, he was right, because after the show, I went up to him, tried to stab him, fucking missed. I know. What a shit stabber. I'm kidding, obviously. Got him in the neck. Quite straightforward. That is also a joke. As a big bloke, no neck, no idea where I was going. Just went just slightly underneath the head. That's the smallest part of his body. But it can catch people out if you don't know. I mean, if you go to Brighton, little tip from me, don't go to a newsagent's on the seafront. I don't anymore, not since the last time when I went in and asked for a good TV guide. And the guy slipped on a cocktail dress and took me up and down the pier. It's a bit weird, I thought. Actually, a very persistent guy. He said, "Stephen," he said, "inside you is a gay man desperate to get out." No, outside me is a gay man desperate to get in. It's a slight difference. Anyway, by now you should be getting slight motion sickness by trying to watch this, but that's okay. We've been watching enough TV recently, and most things are being recorded either in people's homes or just outside in their front gardens. So this is now the new normal, as we call it. And this is quite a leafy area. We can still hear people come out and clap on a Thursday night, though that's been knocked on the heads now, so no more Thursday clapping. There was other claps, wasn't there, that we were going to be doing. Well, it was NHS at first, then it was care workers, then it was key workers, and basically people who took the bin out with a cough and stuff like that. They tried to clap for Boris. I remember when he came out of hospital, that wasn't enormously well received. And to be honest, in this village where we live, just down the road, literally just over there, is a off licence run by a guy called Sanjeev, and Sanjeev is in his late 70s. He's quite a large bloke, and he's asthmatic, and is dealing with the people and the public every day. we just clap him, really. We just go, fucking well done for being still alive, mate. You are demographically in serious shit right now. But anyway, he's alive, I'm alive, and it's all going okay, isn't it? And we're all adapting to the new normal. Though stand-up comics are finding it tough. We love performing to an audience. It's tough to do this right now without being able to see your faces. I do miss you guys. Other industries have been affected. We don't hear them talk about. Sex workers are having a genuinely tough time of it. They're trying to do their stuff over the internet, and realistically, that can only go so far, and we expect that for free. Same for comedy as well. Dogging's tough, isn't it? You try and pursue dogging as a hobby in this environment. It's very tricky, isn't it? Because I mean, it's not really an essential journey, is it? Meeting up with somebody else. I mean, unless both of you meet in the car park of a supermarket where you're picking up essential groceries, and in that instance, where do you park? I mean, have you been to supermarkets now? Due to the 2 metre distancing rule, they've pretty much done an entire circuit of the car parks. Wherever you park, you're going to have somebody by your window. I mean, that might well be your thing. And of course, once you're in the car, you've got to try and pleasure somebody from 2 metres away. And tell me, if you can sexually pleasure someone from over 2 metres away, you're either possessing a skill or an appendage, which means that you should probably be on this video instead of me. So anyway, I'm getting slightly sidetracked here, and I'm very proud of Brighton, by the way, because you may not remember this, but if you hark back to late February, early March, this is the coronavirus capital of the UK. When we only had 9 confirmed cases within the UK, over half of those were from Brighton, from our super spreader, the man who left Singapore, stopped off at a ski resort in France with his friends, all of them GPs. Distributed the illness, and then everybody got it back here in Brighton. And you've got to think about that. Singapore, international travel, GPs, skiing resort. Can you remember when coronavirus was so achingly middle class? I mean, it was aspirational down here. There was a fortnight where if you told people you had coronavirus, they're like, oh, how will the other half live? So exciting. But it's nice. It's nice that it's now become less middle class and more inclusive. Hashtag All Lives Matter, and we're embracing the new normal as comedians. And that's difficult for us because people like me, I need that specificity. I need to know what's going on in the world. I need to be able to kind of interact and interface, and I've been keeping in track with the news. It's difficult for me because apparently a lot of the news is now fake. I used to be a slave to the newspapers until they started reviewing me in Edinburgh, and then I kind of went off them slightly. I got a review once that said Stephen Grant, very funny guy, suffers a bit too much from pedanticness, and well, that upset me. Not because it's a bad review, but because if I wrote to them and told them it's pedantry, would have proved them right, you see. Not my you can do there as well. And then, sorry, someone's trying to run me over there. It was just, the nature of walking up and down a massive driveway. That was Independent who wrote that, pedanticness. I think Independent's a little bit harsh. Not the newspaper itself, I quite liked it. It's the people who read it. I never used to find them that interesting, found them quite sort of pious, better read than you, better travel to. Sort of people who'd have a go if you're mixing your recycling and your non-recycling together, or bin-cest, as I call it. You shouldn't do that, So, you all know people like this, people who put signatures on their own private email saying, stop, think, do you need to print this off? And do you know what upsets me about that? When I do need to print it off, that's the line that appears on a second fucking page. I mean, they are just killing the planet. Not the worst. I mean, I got Metro magazine once reviewed me and said Stephen Grant's is quite meticulous writer. You can see he's the sort of man who'll always dot the I's and cross the T's. Again, from someone who's pedantic and specific, you think he'd be happy with that. But months later, I was still thinking about the problems I had hours after reading that review, which was, who doesn't dot I's and cross T's? Who here, right, draws an I, looks at the dot and thinks, too much work, I'll come back later. Have a look at a T. You just do the line, do you do the top bit? No, I'll come back later. And if you do that with an I and a T, let me tell you, you are not lazy, you're incompetent. Because if you don't dot an I, it's no longer an I. And if you don't cross a T, it's no longer a T. What you'll end up with is a little L, and another little L, and a shitload of L's. I'll tell you who's not dotting the I's and crossing the T's. The Welsh. That's why they've got L's everywhere. They're lazy, lazy bastards. Yeah, Llanelli, actually, Little Italy. Just couldn't be bothered to finish the sign. Tough, huh? So, here we are, this sort of coronavirus environment, and you know, next stage coming, second wave, though the government has found a quite clever way of avoiding a second wave, which is to make sure that the first wave doesn't actually end, which I think is pretty clever on their behalf. Keep talking about them being heroes, the NHS, you know. And don't get me wrong, they are genuinely pushing in a way that we probably wouldn't be quite so selfless, you know. They are absolutely wonderful. But I think there's a problem with the word heroes. The war against coronavirus, taking it to the fight, the front line. Because the problem I have with that is very straightforward. It's the terminology of war. And the reason why we call people heroes in war is because they die. And I've got quite a lot of friends who work for the NHS, and let me tell you, the one thing they'd really like to do right now is not die. It's just one of those little perks of a job, you find. You know, some people have, like, you know, an extra 5 days paid holiday. Other people, like, maybe get a company car and, you know, additional stationery that no one needs to know about. But not dying, really fucking high up in the nicety list. And that's why I don't tend to use that sort of terminology. It's harsh, I know, for some people. I think we got to look after ourselves, haven't we? And that's the thing. I've been keeping fit. I mean, that's the thing, actually. You may not know this right now, but I'm wearing trainers, and anybody walking past me right now might be thinking that guy jogging really slowly, because that's part of the rules of getting out regularly. In fact, look, I've brought a bottle of water. Might have even put some electrolyte in there. You see? Always thinking. Cycling. That's my thing. They said they were going to let you cycle every day, and I just thought, great, I can get on with this. It's been brilliant for my mental health. Took up cycling 10 years ago when my then wife and I decided to have a baby, and I'd left it quite late to have a baby. I don't know if anyone else has been in that situation. It's a classic middle class thing to do, you know, that you concentrate on your work or your studies, you know, or you're worried about your financial situation. Whereas working class people are much more likely to have children pretty much immediately in their adult life. And that is how IVF works, by the way. It's very much a middle class problem. It knows you've spent the last 5 to 10 years building up your finances, and then comes along, slowly takes all that money away from you until eventually you've got no money left. You're technically working class again, and then conceive naturally. It's genuinely brilliant. How do they do it? And trying for a baby was hard. Let me tell you, it was really difficult. I mean, no, I'm not getting any sympathy right now. I know people are watching this sort of thinking, oh, mate, sex on tap. Fucking yes. Let me tell you, this is some of the shittest sex you will ever have in your life. There's no cuddling, there's no smiling. It's just get it in, get it out, hurry up, MasterChef's on. And if you're sat there right now as a bloke thinking, well, come on, Steve, at least it's sex every day. No, apparently not. Apparently at my age, you have to buffer things up to thicken the consistency. My ex-wife sat there with a magazine article going, look, we can only have sex when the time is right. I'm going, I'm in my early 40s. When it's hard, that's when it's right. Because for you young guys out there now, sex is so straightforward. It's just so straightforward. If you've got a girlfriend right now and you're thinking of making a baby, let me tell you, if you're in your 20s, what you'd have to do in order to make a baby? Baby. In fact, just brush past her, wearing a towel, triplets. I mean, that's how incredibly virile you are. Right? That is just how able and capable you are of making a baby. For you right now, sex is like a brand new plastic squirty ketchup bowl. You just loosen the tip and boom, 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 boom. Carnage. For me, it's like a 5-year-old glass ketchup bottle. I am there fucking ever. Eventually, I'm going, look, my wife's going, I'll get a knife, I'll sort this out. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with me. I did all the things you're supposed to do if you're trying to make a baby, like, you know, look after your blood oxygen levels if you're a man, to keep sure that they're at the highest levels. If you're a woman, you have to make sure you don't become too overweight, because, well, then no bloke will put his knob in you. That's a joke, obviously. Ladies will put a knob in anything. It's not a barrier. So I took up cycling. That's the thing I wanted to tell you. I took up cycling because I was told fitness was really important, and I loved it. But let me tell you, it was a massive mistake. Because if you want to make a baby, there is nothing worse than cycling. It's On the NHS website, have a look. It's in the top 3 reasons for male infertility. If you spend an hour a day on a bike saddle, you will kill up to 50% of your sperm. 50%. Where was that information? When I was back in my early 20s, having sex with girls for fun, and they're going, oh, Stephen, don't come at me. And I could have said, don't worry, love, it's all right. I cycled here. Anyway. Did it. Eventually, and managed to have a baby eventually. Because it turned out I suffered from a syndrome called non-dominant sperm. Don't know what that is. It's a genuine syndrome. What this means is the sperm will not penetrate the egg if another sperm is trying to penetrate the egg. See, basically I'm stuck in an infinite loop of British politeness. Just a load of sperm going, after you. Oh, but I couldn't. After you. But I insist. After you. Just there for a while. Okay, I mentioned ex-wife as well. I'll share this with you. We seem to be bonding as much as I can't see you, and as much as we separated. And the second wife I've lost actually. I just think if I had insured myself, now I'd probably be considered too much of a risk to be insured to keep a third wife. Now 2 gone. But you know, I'm not bitter about it, and the reason why I'm not bitter about it is that if anybody's had a relationship fail, and this goes out to everybody listening right now, and it doesn't matter how it happened or whatever, but there's a very real chance you beat yourself up because you made a lifelong commitment and it didn't work. But let me tell you, on behalf of the other side, officially, not your fault. It is the fault of medical science. Because 2,000 years ago, when all the world religions got together and said, oh, you had to be together forever, it's a piece of piss back then. Because back then, we all lived to, 38? So people are going like, do you want to be together forever? What, a year and a half? Fuck it, let's do it. Whereas now, we all live to what? 80, 90? A half of us are going to live to 100. What are the chances of us being happy with someone for 75 years? Right. Let me tell you, fuck all. Nobody is that interesting. Nobody is going to provide that level of interest and intrigue and captivation and magnetism for that long. And just 3/4 of a century, nobody is. But you know what? It's okay, because when you move on, it's always better. It's always better. You always find someone better. It's just the way new humans are. We learn, we move on. If you are in a failing relationship right now and you're thinking, you know what? I don't want to leave them. I don't want to be on my own. I don't want to be lonely. No! There are more people on the planet. We all live longer. You will find someone better. Fuck it. Even if you're happy, give them the heave-ho. You will find someone better. It's a bit like an iPhone, right? You think you're happy with the one you've got, and then a new one comes along. It's like, oh, what was I doing with that shit? I can only recommend the upgrade. And I know you're probably sitting there thinking, yes, Stephen, you sound a little bit bitter, but I'm not. I'm genuinely positive and chipper and upbeat about this. I look at everything that's ever happened in my life, no matter how dark and miserable, and always try to find the positive. So yes, fair enough, my first wife did spend the majority of the time while we were worried, letting one of her, while we were married, sorry, well, more worried was similar, while we were married, letting one of her colleagues repeatedly put his knob inside her, but he did spend half that time taking that knob back out again. See, so it wasn't all bad, it's sort of bad news, good news, bad news, good news, bad news, good news, you see, always ended on good news, like a fairy tale. In fact, the only thing that upsets me is this stereotype, this belief that men are all players and women are all virtuous, and surely that's bollocks as well too. I mean, surely, you know, men can be the victims and women can be the aggressors. I don't see any reason why I can't be hard done by in this transaction. I'm desperately monogamous. I could never be unfaithful to someone. If I'm upset for somebody else, it upsets me. I'll give you an idea how boringly monogamous I am. I can't even masturbate thinking about other women without feeling like I'm being unfaithful to my partner. No, I have to spend, you know, the good 10 minutes before then imagining she's died. It's the only way to make it okay. It's like, car crash. Oh, it's proper sexy. I do recommend it. Give it a go. Anyway, I think that's me done. Nick, it's been fabulous that you've allowed me to talk to your many audience. If you have enjoyed my stuff, I'm at Stephen C. Grant on Twitter and on Instagram as well. And do please get in touch. Though if you have worked out where I live on the basis of this video, please do not get in touch. I'm genuinely fearful for my own life. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Grant giving you a tour of his neighbourhood whilst making us all laugh. Thank you so much, Stephen. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for phoning in for that club. We really appreciate it. As I said at the beginning, tonight we streamed on Twitter, YouTube and Facebook all at the same time. Nuts, blown my mind, and it worked, so that's great. So we have viewers on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube, which is wonderful. Thank you for tuning in, whatever platform you chose to do so on. Now don't forget, guys, the club is not free. A few of you have already paid. Thank you so much for that. Pay whatever you can, pay whatever you want. PayPal.me/Gaghouse Comedy, and that'll keep the club going and also keep the acts going and keep the acts coming to our club whilst the only way we can perform is online. Talking about performances, we have comedy every Friday night for the foreseeable future, so please do follow the Gaghouse Comedy Facebook page, YouTube, sign up and subscribe, or follow us on Twitter. We have a really big announcement we announced this week. We're doing an online adult panto in September. It's on the 10th, 11th and 12th of September. We're going to perform it live in a venue and stream it live to you guys. And you can find out all about that show at guildfordfringe.com. Tickets are £14 per device. We send you a locked link to watch the show live on the night of the show, 10th, 11th and 12th of September, guildfordfringe.com. But for now, thank you for joining us. The post will stay up for a bit longer on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter, so please do feel free to share with your friends who missed. But for now, all we need to do is say thank you to our acts. Thank you to Callie Beaton and Stephen Grant. Awesome work. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see all of you lots next week. Look after yourselves.